Aloha, I'm Coach Todd, and welcome to another episode of No Limits Map to Triathlon podcast. You know what? It's been a while since I've done this, so I don't even remember how to start these things. We just got back from Hawaii yesterday. We did a 70.3 training camp there, and we finished off with the race, and it was good. Now, this video may or may not, or podcast or video, or it may not make it on to the public. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out and how I feel, etc. The reason being is my dad died a week ago, and so it's been hard, and so this video may only be for me, but it may also be for you. So if you're watching this, I decided to post it. If you're here for quick tips on Hawaii 7.3, it's probably best for you to skip it and move on to something else, because I don't think it's going to be one of those quick videos. Just a heads up, just click that stop button or delete or move on. But for those of you who want to learn more about my experience with the race, the things I've learned and things you can take with you, and then stick around. I think it could be a good one. Right now, like I said, I'm heading up to see my mom. Did I say that? I don't even know. My mind is not super focused, super sharp right now. So you'll have to, and I've told all my athletes this week, is just be patient with me. So I'm going to ask you again or ask you for the first time to be patient with me during this video/podcast. I'm halfway there to Leduc, where my mom is, and I had to stop for fuel for myself. So it stopped at Tim Hortons, got a sandwich and an ice cap. That was so good. Alright, so yesterday I flew back into town. It was a long trip. But I want to talk to you about the race. I've done Hawaii 7.3 now 6 times. I've raced on the Big Island 7 times. First time racing there was in 2008, where I completed the World Championships, and it was an amazing event. And I remember when I finished it, I thought to myself, why would I ever want to do that thing again? It was so hard. The hardness about it was the wind and the heat and the fact that I just did an Ironman like 6 weeks prior, and so I was really fatigued. I had the wrong wheel choice, and it was just brutal, but I got through it. And now it's one of my favorite places to race. Has it gotten any easier? Well, maybe not, but I know how to handle the wind, I know how to handle the heat, I know how to handle the course, so it's much more easier for me to break it down in my mind and do the steps so that I can effectively complete the race and come out with a pretty good time. This was a different year. This race was a different year because my dad, like I said, he died. And he died on the Sunday. We were there for a training camp, and he died on the evening of day 0. And so day 1 is a Monday. And so we go day 1 to day 5, which is Monday to Friday, and we do a cool training camp put on by No Limits. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Every day we swim in the ocean, we bike, and then we run, but we don't run and bike every day. Because of the training camp, you get so comfortable in the ocean, comfortable in the heat, comfortable on your bike, comfortable in the winds, on the hills. Everything about Hawaii and the course you get used to. You may not like it. Like, you may not like the winds, you may not like the hills, you may not like the rockiness of the ocean, but what you do is you get used to it, so that when it comes to race day, you are familiar with it all. And that is the benefit of going on a training camp. And that was the comment a lot of people said to me afterwards. They go, how was your camp? And they said, well, Todd, it's because of the camp that I was ready to do so well in the race. And I thought that was awesome. So I was actually almost dreading the race. I was dreading the race because I knew it was the end, and having the end was something I didn't want to do, and crossing the finish line I knew it was going to be hard, so that was difficult for me. At the same time, I know it's such a great race, I was looking forward to it. Okay, let's go to race day. Race day, we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I woke up at 4, and our plan was to leave the house at 4:45. We rented a house up on the Mahalo coast. Mahalo coast? No, the Kohala coast. Mohala? I can't even speak anymore. I've been away from Hawaii. I can't even speak the Hawaiian language as if I could. Mohala? My brain does not. I gotta apologize. I have to edit that out. Mahalo means thank you. We were farther up on the Kohala coast, past Kauai High, and we were at the mile 6 marker on the highway there. It was a fantastic location and relatively close to the start, which was Kapuna Beach. Now we had to take 2 vans, and we drove on the highway. We drove on the highway, and we let our athletes out of the van, and then Kent and I drove the vans to basically a second transition, and then we had to take a shuttle to get back to T1. So there's a bit of planning involved to get everything done correctly. But by the time we got to T1, we were able to pump up our tires and get our transition area ready to go. We had to set them up the day before. And what we did is we just dropped off our bikes. So our bikes were already there. We let air out of our tires. So on a race morning, we need to pump them up. Pump up our tires, put on our helmets and our glasses, and put everything else in a bike bag. So if you need your shoes, nutrition, you put that stuff in the bike bag. For me, I decided to leave my shoes on the pedal, yes, and leave my helmet on my aero bars, and my glasses go right inside my helmet, and so that's all I needed on the bike. I had my nutrition on a bento box on the top bar, and I was using Cliff blocks. I think I put in 3 or 4 packages of those, and I sprinkled on base salt over top of those Cliff blocks. I am horrible with saying Cliff blocks. I want to say Cliff shots. I know it's wrong. Okay, so my transition area was good to go. One thing that I always try to do is the morning of the race, I like to sip a water bottle with my electrolyte solution in it. I was using Isogenics Amped for my electrolyte. I had the bottle prepared the night before. I had it out in the morning. I was going to walk around and sip it. But after I dropped off my dry clothes bag, I'm like, what happened to my water bottle? It was on the ground. Where did it go? And afterwards, I realized, oh, I left it in my dry clothes bag. So that was mistake number 1. You got to keep things out of your dry clothes bag that you need right away. Rookie mistake. And again, my mind wasn't quite working as it should be. It was all over the place. 2 days before the race, I was lucky enough to have a van to myself, so no athletes. And as I was driving in the lava fields, I was thinking about Mark Allen and his races, and a lot of tips he gives his athletes and his people. And one of them was to be with the island and listen to the island. And I was listening to my thoughts, and one of the thoughts that came to me was, Todd, you need to turn on the air conditioning. It's a little cold, a little warm in here. The thought that came to me was, why don't you race naked? Now I know what you're thinking, Todd, you can't race naked, and you can't. But what I mean by racing naked is racing without electronics. So no watch, no bike computer, and no swim skin. So no extra things to make you faster. So I said, I don't know if I want to do that. So I was humming and hawing about it. But on race day, and I had all this stuff packed. I had my watch on, I had the bike computer in my shoes, and I had my swim skin in the bag. All that stuff was there, but I decided, you know what, let's do it. Let's race with none of this extra stuff. let's see what happens. So I took my watch and I put it in my bike repair bag that was on my bike. My bike computer was in my dry clothes bag. My swim skin was in my dry clothes bag too. I never took it out. Now I have not raced like this in a long time. Usually I'm always have some sort of metric I can follow, whether it's power, heart rate, pace, speed, something you can look at to help you pass the time when you're racing. But not this time. This time I decided I'm not going to have any of that stuff. It's going to be racing naked. And the funny thing is I actually have a Speedo, and maybe it would have been cool to race in the Speedo, but I didn't have a top. Didn't have a top to wear for it, so that wasn't going to be an option. Okay, as we got closer and closer to the start of the race, we all need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the porta potty lined up, and my swim goggles and swim cap were in my hand, and I put them down in front of the porta potty because I don't like going in them. I don't like going to the porta potty with stuff. If I put it on the ground's pretty gross, so I don't want my goggles and swim cap to get gross, and I just put them outside. So after doing my business in there, came out, and you know what? No one was there. Everybody was gone, and it was so crazy that when I went in, there was a lineup of like 30 people. When I came out, everyone was gone. It's like, whoa, that's really weird. But what happened is everyone was feeling the rush, so they went down to the beach for the start. When I came out, I kind of felt happy everyone was gone. You know, I felt peaceful. I was feeling calm. I mean, there were a few volunteers around, but really, that transition up top was empty. I went over to my bike, just checked it for one more time, and then I thought to myself, hey, where's my swim cap and where's my goggles? They're not here. So I looked back at the porta potty I was at. Sure enough, not there. They're gone. So I talked to volunteers, and they have no idea. They don't know what happened. Now, during the race morning, they kept saying, hey, if you don't have your goggles or swim cap, come on down to the beach. We have extra ones. Now, I'm thinking in my head, I don't really want to swim with goggles that are not mine, that don't really fit my face, that may be leaking, maybe fogging. I mean, that would just plain suck. And so I got to a point at my bike, and I didn't think this very long. I thought, you know what, I could just pull out of the race right now. I go, maybe this is a sign I should not be racing. Earlier in transition, my athletes, Travis, he looked at me, and I told him that I'm not using a watch, not using a bike computer, not using a swim skin. And he looked at my glasses. I got these glasses on. These are what are they called? Typhosi. $25. I said, you know what? They look pretty cool. Let's take these. And he said, Todd, what's going on with you? You're like a new person or a different person. Now, he didn't see me during the camp, and he didn't know what was going on with my life at that time, so I wasn't going to explain. I just smiled and nodded or did something. I can't remember. But I remember thinking, maybe I should just pull out of the race. I don't need to do this. I've done it already a bunch of times. This is a sign not to do it. But I quickly got rid of that thought. I said, no, you can figure this out. You can figure it out. Let's go back 45 minutes. So reverse 45 minutes. I'm walking through transition to get to my bike, just in the very beginning. Right, so the shuttle just dropped me off from dropping off the van, and I'm walking through this super crowded transition. So many bikes, so many people. The energy is high, and it's wonderful. I do have a video of that, and maybe I'll add it here if I remember. And as I was going through, and you know what's neat is this moment may be captured on video. I didn't even think of that until now. The moment is this. I'm walking through transition. Oh, let's rewind 5 days. Like I said, this is not going to be a simple video or a simple podcast. Let's rewind 5 days. So when my dad died, I emailed my athletes at the camp saying, look, this is what happened. I'm fine. I told them, don't ask me about it. Don't ask me how I'm doing, because I probably won't be able to handle it. And so they respected that. They didn't ask me about anything. They didn't hug me. They didn't do anything, right? Because I didn't want any of that. Because that was my way of coping. And I'm not a very verbal person. Although listening to this, you may think, Todd, you're pretty verbal. But really, I'm not. So I like to be bit of an introvert, and I like to move my body. So exercise is really good for me. So training camp actually helped me a lot. But the point I'm trying to get at is that no one really touched me. I gave high fives and stuff, but no one would touch me, and no one hugged me. Okay, so I'm walking through transition, and a friend of mine, Louis, sees me. And I don't know Louis very well, but I only see him at Hawaii, and I've seen him one other place. And I met him in Chile at Pucon 70.3. We were both there for the race. I was there with a broken arm, and I couldn't race. So we bonded. Louis and his wife Pam and I bonded, became really good friends. And we were there with Ken Glaw. It was his Ken Glaw's endurance travel trip. So all of us bonded really, really well. And we had this connection, and it was just a wonderful time. So now every time I see him in Hawaii, we kind of relive that moment. We don't hang out a lot, maybe for like 2 minutes, but we always acknowledge each other, say hi, and just enjoy that moment. So I'm walking through transition. He sees me. He comes up to me. I don't know what he says. Sorry, Todd, and then gives me a hug. And so he's the first person to break that ice. Right, first person to give me a hug. And when he did that, I took it, but then I didn't even look at him. I just kept walking. So he went on that way. I went on this way. And I'm sure he knows how it feels to not be able to, acknowledge people for that. So that's something that's special, and something you need to remember about this story so far. Okay, so now I'm thinking about, okay, I don't have goggles, I don't have swim cap, and I'm up top on the top transition. We need to walk down this pathway to the beach. And at the beach, that's where everybody is. All the spectators, all the athletes, all lined up in the corral, ready to start. I don't know what number wave I am, maybe 6 or 7. I was in the 45 to 49 men's age group. And I knew that I didn't start until, I think it's like 30 minutes after the start. So I got time. I got time to kill. And so as I'm walking down, I'm asking people, hey, goggles, swim cap. And they said, don't talk to me, I don't know anything. Talk to a person in a white shirt. I think it's a white shirt, because they were maybe the higher up volunteers. So I was asking a couple people in a white shirt, no idea. I'm like, oh, okay. So I gotta get closer to the beach, so maybe I can get another swim cap and some goggles. And I'm really dreading the fact that I'm gonna be swimming in goggles that I've never tested it out. I'm like, it's okay, I can do it. I've already said to myself, I'm committed to getting this race done. I gotta do it. Now, the funny thing is, I'm walking on the beach. I've probably been on the beach 5 or 10 steps. The radio announcer, or the race announcer goes, Todd Malcolm, number 31, we have your swim cap and goggles. I kid you not. So the whole beach is littered with people, and then they're calling to me, Todd Malcolm, 31, where are you? Where are you? So I'm waving my hands. They spot me, and they send a lady down with my goggles and swim cap. So I will do anything for attention, hey? Crazy. And the funny thing is it wasn't my fault. What happened was, when I was in the porta potty, a volunteer saw my goggles and swim cap outside, and because no one was around, he assumed everyone was down at the beach. He didn't think to knock. And I would say, hey, I'm still in here. So he picked it up and brought it down. Because my swim cap had my number on it, 31, it was easy to find out who I was, who was missing, who lost their goggles. So that was something that was lucky. It worked out really, really well. Then I walked on the beach. And usually what I do is I go for a little warm-up. I go to the ocean, do a little warm-up, get used to the water. If I've got to pee, I'll pee in the ocean. It's true, most triathletes do it. But as I got down there, I kept running into campers and athletes, and I was chatting with them. And it was good, but for me, it was still emotional, because this is the race that I've been dreading. I was watching people go, and the excitement was there, but the drive wasn't there. And as it was time for me to get in my corral, and I saw all my people in there, like all my people in the same age group. I thought, where am I going to start? Usually I start very near the front. I'm a pretty good swimmer. I wouldn't be the fastest, but I'd be, top 10, top 20. But this time, I decided, you know what? Let's not start in the front. Let's start in the back. A comment I told one of my athletes during the camp was, I can't remember how it came up, but I said, you know what? You're either first or you're last. And I sort of felt bad about saying that, but that just bounced around in my head. You're either first or you're last. When we went to rack our bikes on Friday night or Friday afternoon, we got there a little bit late. We were spending time with Mike Riley and Mark Allen getting our pictures taken. It was super awesome, and I don't regret that at all. But we came late to check in. And I know that you have to get there early to get the prime spots. And the prime spots are right near the front. I know that. Right, so as we're coming in, Kent looked at me and said, Todd, where do you want to go? I go, right to the end. So I wanted to be last. So if we're not first, let's be last. And the issue with being last at this race is you have to run your bike. So you'd be easy to find your bike. Easy. But once you get your bike and you hop on, then you have to run up this incline towards the mountain line. And it's a long incline. So and I knew that you have to weave through people. It's going to be busy. And I'm like, doesn't matter. Let's go last. Let's be last. We couldn't be dead last because there's like 3 or 4 bikes already in the racks, but we just put our bikes beside that and then we carried on. So we're last. Okay. When I was thinking about starting the swim, I go, you know what? Let's go last too. First or last. Not gonna be first. Let's go last. The way they start the race is like a ski start. So you're in a corral and they go, the first person it goes beep, 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 beep. And the longer beep means you go. And they do that every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, athletes go. And I think it's 5 at a time. So you're lined up in a corral, 5 of you, and as the countdown goes, you're running to the ocean. I like it because I think it's safer. I think it's a lot safer. And increasing the safety in the water part of a triathlon is important. Years ago, we used to have lots of mass starts, and they are amazing, but they're also a little bit, they're a little stressful, and they cause a lot of grief towards people. People used to hate the swim starts. For me, I've had some difficult times in them, but I always made it through. This swim start, super easy, right? And I was the very, very last person to start my wave. So the men's 45 to 48, 49. And I remember, and I didn't even have anybody beside me. I started far right and no one beside me. And the lady that put her hand out, she goes, oh, here we go, last soldier. So that was me. And that stayed in my head for, I don't know, about 20 minutes. I am the last soldier. I thought, interesting. Rock Fry was right beside there. So I gave him a fist pump. He saw I was from Calgary. I know he's Canadian. He says, hey, Calgary. And so then off I went. Now, before I started, Greg Welch, he was doing the announcing with a weather report guy from Hawaii named Guy, or Guy. And he was saying, okay, this is the best advice you're going to get all race. He's saying, from his perspective, he could see that the current was pushing everyone left. So he said, aim, or was pushing them right. It must have been pushing them right. He said, aim left. Aim left with that first buoy. I'm like, okay, I can do that. When I raced Chattanooga 7.3 World Championships, there was a total current because we were in a river. So we had to swim upstream in order to make that first buoy. And I thought, you know what, he can see better than I can, so I'm going to take his advice. Now, he said it was the best advice ever. I am not going to say for sure that was the best advice, because when you're swimming, I feel there was no current. There was no current. We swam in that ocean all week, and I'm telling you, there's no difference. So you could have gone dead straight to it. I went a little bit far left, but it was okay because I missed people. But not best advice ever. for the day. I'm gonna take that. Sorry, Greg, you're not right. As I was swimming, starting at the back was totally fine. There were obviously slower swimmers ahead of me, but I just worked my way through them. I stayed calm, stayed relaxed, and I stuck close to the buoys. I actually swam inside the buoys, and you're allowed to do that at this race. You only had to go around the turn buoys. And by doing so, I basically swam the whole swim by myself. It is a beautiful swim. We were so lucky that there was no wind, no big waves, just a calm, probably the nicest 70.3 Hawaii swim I've ever had. So this is 2018, right? 2018? 2018. Just a wonderful swim start. I like it because you get very deep out there. When we train during the week, I ask my athletes not to go that deep because there's no purpose to be that deep. But when you're deeper, you can really see a lot of the coral. When you're more shallow at Hapuna, you can't see a lot of coral. It's just sand. So the deeper, you have a really nice swim. You see coral, you see fish. Sometimes you might see a turtle, you might see a manta ray. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful swim. It feels like you are in Hawaii. And yes, you are in Hawaii. It's just a great, great swim. And I kept thinking throughout the swim, you know what, this is it. The swim's almost over. Enjoy it. It's going good so far. I think I only got passed by 2 people, 2 ladies, which was great. And they were strong swimmers. And they just passed me almost like I was standing still. And I love being passed by good swimmers because it just shows you, you know, how good some people are. It's like, wow, look at you guys go. I love it. I came out of the water, goggles up, swim cap, goggles on my head, started running, and I felt good. I go, that's one component done, swim is done. And again, it's sad because it's over, right? Next stage is to run up towards my bike. A lot of people walk. For me, I like to run, and I can pass a lot of people there. And I just try to be, you know, excuse me, you know, or touch people on the side, knowing that I'm coming to pass them. Come to my bike. My transition is super easy. Helmet on, goggles on, and glasses on, and then I run up to the mountain line. Remember, I have my shoes already on my pedals. Now, when I was running from my spot to the top, I had to kind of weave through a lot of people and get through the bikes, and I thought it was going to be worse than it was, so it wasn't really that bad. My transition time, I believe, was pretty quick. I'd have to go back and check, but I think it's like 2 minutes. I don't know. Don't count on that specific number, but it was pretty quick. Now, when I hopped on the bike, you gotta cross the mountain line, and there's lots of volunteers. They say, hey, do you want to push? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a push. I had a little trouble getting my right foot onto my shoe, and so when I got my foot on, the shoe was underneath the pedal, and then it hit the ground, so the shoe popped off. I'm like, so we had to stop, get the shoe, put the shoe on, and then get on the bike. So I slowed myself down, so it wasn't a time saver at all. But the weird thing is that when I hopped on my bike, my seat height was like this much too high, like a foot too high. And I don't even know how I got myself on it. I'm like, this is not right. And I thought in my head, oh, it must be because the rack must have been hanging from the seat post, and my clamp must have been loose and it opened up. But then thinking about it, there weren't any seat posts. The wheel went into like some blocks of wood on the ground. So I don't know why the seat post was so high. It's really, really weird why it was so high. Anyhow, I had to get this fixed ASAP because I cannot ride a bike with your seat that high. Impossible. So I move over to the side, my repair kit, I take it out, get out the Allen key, undo it, push the seat down, tighten it up, and off I go. Pretty quick fix, and looking back on it, I'd rather have that type of a mechanical instead of like a chain coming off or a flat tire or something else going wrong. So it was a very, very quick fix. I probably fixed it in less than 60 seconds, so I didn't lose a lot of time. And there's some spectators on the side, they go, whoa, what happened? And I jokingly say, well, It's either sabotage or something else. I'm pretty sure it's not sabotage. It's probably just my own fault. But it was still nice to joke with people and to get on the bike. Once I got on the bike, remember I had 0 indicators of how hard I'm going. No heart rate monitor strap, power meter, nothing. Right? So I'm just on the bike and I'm going by feel. Now remember, I start at the back of my age group, which means, generally speaking, those athletes are slower, right? Usually the faster athletes are in the front. Although there are some very, very fast cyclists who are not good swimmers, so they start at the back because they're not good swimmers. But generally speaking, I'm with a slower group of athletes. So I'm passing. So I'm always on the left, and there's tons of people on the course. I think there's almost 1,500 people that competed that day. So quite a few. And for me, I know not to push too hard, but I also want to race this race and race it. That may be too many races, but I didn't want anything holding me back. I didn't want to look at a number and go, oh, my heart rate's this, I need to come down, or my heart rate's not high enough. You know, I didn't want any of that stuff to limit me or to push me. And so I just wanted to really go inside, listen to myself, listen to maybe the island, listen to my dad, all those things that could help me. And that's why I wanted to do that. So I just listened to my body, go, my legs, how do they feel? Am I pushing too hard? Is it too easy? How's my back? How's my arms? All those things I was going through. When I was hungry, I would eat. So I got these Cliff blocks. I try to eat every 10 or 15 minutes. Now I have no idea what the time is because I don't have a watch. So I just take it when I'm hungry. I think that's about 10 minutes. When I come to an aid station, so the aid stations were located, I believe, don't quote me, every 10 miles. And they're super, super great people. Volunteers are top notch. I love them. I don't take a lot from aid stations on the bike because I'm fully prepared to do the course by myself. I have my nutrition and my drinks. But what I do take at the aid stations is water because it's so hot out. We come from Canada where it's not that hot. So what I do is I grab a water bottle, I go head to toe, and I just soak myself. So I try to get my core a little bit cooler temperature. I try to bring it down. It gives you a nice little reprieve of the temperature. There was still traffic on the course, so it's not closed. And I don't know if this is always like this in the past, but there's a lot of traffic. So you really have to make sure that you stay on the right side. If you're listening to this and you've never done a 70.3, there's a white line on the road, right? The white line, you know, kind of limits the ditch to the lane. When you're biking, you want to be to the right of that white line. Okay, you should not be in the lane where the cars drive unless you're passing somebody, because it's not safe. And so I saw this a lot in the race. Some people were to the left of that white line, even when they could have been to the right. And I saw traffic coming right up to their butt and saying, dude, you gotta move. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you gotta move. Why are you there? You gotta be on to the right. So I passed some people, said, look, you gotta move to the right. And a lot of the marshals were doing the same thing. Please move to the right. Even the police officers were on the road saying, please get off the road, move to the right. Now, it may be a language barrier, it may be a cultural thing, but if you're racing Hawaii 7.3, please stay to the right of the white line. It's for your safety, so you don't get hit by a car, right? It's very, very important. Okay, anyways, carrying on from there. As I was approaching Hawaii, so this is the turnaround point of the race, it started to rain. Generally, when you think about rain, you think, oh, no one wants to be rained on, but in Hawaii, where it's hot, is not a bad thing because it helps cool you off. But immediately I'm thinking, okay, it's raining. How are the winds? You can get very windy up there. You get these crosswinds that can push you towards the ocean. So they're blowing, as you're going out, blowing from right to left. So you usually generally have to lean into the winds. But I noticed, you know what, the winds were not that bad. It was more of a headwind. And then I was thinking, okay, on the way back, how is that going to affect the ride? From Hawaii coming down, it's all downhill. You can get fast speeds. And if you're coming down fast speeds on wet roads with winds pushing you towards the ditch, it can be a hazard. So after I turned around and came down, there was a lot of water on the roads. It seemed to stop raining, but still, like you're going through puddles. I caught up to one of my athletes, Kent, and I could see him like within 100 yards. And he was just in front of me. I was watching him go down. He's a good cyclist. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay right back here and I'll watch him because I know he doesn't like this part of the course. I'm gonna watch him, make sure he's safe, and just enjoy being this distance from him and see how he does. As we got probably halfway down the hill, it stopped raining and it seemed like it was starting to dry up, but the roads were still wet and they can be slick. And I was still paying close attention how the crosswind's coming, and the crosswinds never really picked up, which was great for all of us. Because I think if it was windy, we would have had some accidents. When I passed Kent shortly after, I said, you know, I pat him on the back. At the same time I patted him on the back, one of the campers on the other side, Ingrid, said, "Hey guys, go, 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 go." So it was a very special moment for me to say good job to Kent, and also have Ingrid on the other side saying, "Hey guys." So it was like a moment in time that was incredibly special. And how does that happen? Like, how does that happen? It's super neat, right? I continued on the bike. Now Kent's behind me. I just keep pushing, and doing the best I can, listening to my body, eating what I need to eat. The last aid station, I know it can be difficult because it's a long one. It's a long one from that aid station until the finish. And so my plan was this: I could take one water bottle, ditch it, and then take a water bottle from the aid station. The reason why I did this, because I was getting hot. It's getting warmer out there, and I wanted to get my core temperature a little bit lower. So I grabbed a water bottle. Well, I ditched mine, and I grabbed a new one. And I put it, I doused myself, but then I kept it on my bike. So then as I was getting closer to the end, I was able to cool myself off. Now, a big part of racing in Hawaii is heat control. You got to make sure that you don't get too hot, right? Because your heart rate can go up and you get dehydrated. It can be a major problem. So you have to be able to come up with a system to handle the heat. So that for the last part of the bike ride, that's what I did. Is I grabbed that water bottle and I would occasionally douse myself off. Once near the transition, I take my feet out of my shoes, put them on top, and then I spin easy to the dismount line. I was in no rush. I felt good coming off the bike. Yes, you're tired. Everyone's tired after completing a 90K bike ride. You're just going to be. But I felt okay. Like there's nothing. My body wasn't saying, "Oh my gosh, I gotta run." I'm like, okay, I get to run. So I felt surprisingly good. But when I got to that dismount line, I just took it easy. I didn't do like a flying dismount. I just took my time, and then I ran towards to rack my bike. This year they had your bike racks numbered. Now I didn't know where the number was because they didn't set the numbering up until the day before. So no one knew where the numbers were. I'm just running along and volunteers would tell me this is where you rack the bike. Because my number was so low, 31, I was right near the front. So I ran all the way down to the front. But then I was on the wrong side. He's like, "Hey man, you can be on this side." I'm like, okay. So I had to run around, put it on that side. It's no big deal. I was in no rush. It didn't matter. I wasn't racing for first. I was just racing to have this moment. Have a very special moment. That's why I was racing, and so far it was going good. I was super chill and enjoying it. There was no rush. I mean, there's a bit of rush because you're still racing, but not like a panic rush to get it done. Rocked my bike, And then once you rack your bike, you need to go pick up your bike bag. We dropped off our bike bags the day before. I knew where that was. Ran down the road, pick it up, and then I ran to the change tent. Now I didn't really need to go into the tent, so I just watched what other people are doing. They're just sitting on the ground. I don't think I sat down. I just stood up and did it. All I had to do was put on my shoes, put on my socks, put on my number belt, and then I had hat. Did I say hat yet? Can't remember. And then 2 sandwich baggies. I run with the 2 sandwich baggies. This is what I do with the sandwich baggies, and I love this. This may be the best tip of the day, not Greg Welch's. What you do is you take your sandwich baggies, and when you come to an aid station, you open it up, and you fill it up with ice. So now you have an ice pack, and you can either put the ice pack in your front, or you put the ice pack in the back, or you can do it both. For me, I like both. So I got one in the back, one in the front. And what it does, it helps keep your temperature low, and it feels super chill. Get it? Super chill? I'm just gonna go over here. Now, because it's so warm out, the ice pack is going to melt. And to me, it's always surprising how fast that ice pack melts. I got the ice in the bag right at the beginning. So that's the first thing I do. I start in the run, even before I start running, I fill up that bag and I have my ice on there. And I know it drives some people crazy, runners, because you hear me sloshing around as I approach you. It's like, and you can see people turning their heads like, what is coming behind me? And it gets louder and louder as the ice melts. So it's like, it sounds like someone's belly is full of fluid, and you're like, this is a strange sound to hear. And that's me coming. And it works like a charm. When I started running, I focus on staying relaxed and no watch. Remember, I have no watch, so I'm trying to listen to myself and how do I feel, right? Am I going at a good pace? How does my heart rate feel, right? I don't know the number, but I can listen to it and I can feel, am I too high or am I too low? And I want to be just right. I don't want to be pushing too hard. I want to be pushing enough. I know in the beginning, you don't want to be going too hard because you can dig yourself a big hole. Just watching these cars up here. We're already speeding with these 2 cars. One car is around this car's butt, just accelerating. I'm like, dude, we're gonna go. I don't get it. So for people out there who do that, why do you do that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Back to the run. As I'm running, the run became pretty special because this race is for my dad, so I kept thinking about my dad and running with him during this race. Even though he wasn't a runner, I imagined that he's running with me, and it becomes quite special. When I get to, there's a section of the road of the race called Hell's Kitchen. It just goes down. They've changed the course in the last 2 years to make it 2 loops. So Hell's Kitchen is not as bad as it used to be. It's not as long. But it's a section that's paved road. Most of the course you're running on a golf course fairway or on the cart paths, which the grassy part is difficult to get into a good rhythm. It just is, because you're kind of squishing into the ground, so you can't get a good push off. And now just before I got to Hell's Kitchen, I ran into Louis. Remember, Louis hugged me, right? And so I didn't recognize him when he passed, and he said, "Hey Todd, good job." We didn't high five because I wasn't expecting it. Then in Hell's Kitchen, just after I saw Louis, I saw Travis. So I knew Travis was there, and then I went down Hell's Kitchen, came up. When I'm going through Hell's Kitchen, what I do is I take ice, I take water, and I take Red Bull. I'm a big fan for myself of Red Bull. They always have a Red Bull tent down there, and when they're handing out Red Bull, I take two. I go down, do the turnaround, come back up, 2 more Red Bulls. I'm going to tell you this, so when you splash Red Bull in your face, it goes in your eyeballs, and it's not so good. It kind of hurts. But I did that once. I just had to get some water and wash it out. So if you're going to throw Red Bull on your face, don't do it. Take the time to try to get it into your mouth. Water you can throw on your face, but Red Bull and Coke, Gatorade, no, don't do that. So I'm running up Hell's Kitchen, and then on the left side I see Kent. And I'm like, Kent's right there. He's not that far ahead. He's not that far behind me, so he might even catch me. But I keep running. Finish the first loop, and then this idea popped into my head. I go, you know what? I want to give Louis a hug. I want to grab or steal a hug from Louis. And that became my primary focus of this run. I go, you know what? I want to find Louis. I remember after he passed me, I kind of looked behind me to see what he was wearing, because he wasn't wearing his normal suit, or one that I remember. So I look back and go, what is he wearing? He's easy to miss. And so as I'm running the second loop, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get this hug from Louis. I want to steal it from him. Okay, I want this moment that we can share, and will it be possible? So I start to look for him. I go, I think he's gonna be near Hell's Kitchen area, because that's where I saw him. And I think I'm running faster than him. I'm a faster runner than Louis. He's a faster swimmer, faster biker, but I think I can get him. He started earlier than me. He's in the 50 to 54 age group. So he already has the head start on me, but I still think I can catch him. Well, that's not true. I didn't think I was going to catch him, but I thought I was going to see him again so that I can get this hug, right? And so I'm looking for him, and I don't see him. I go, oh, maybe he's faster than me, so maybe I missed him. Because the back and forth traffic, you don't see it a lot. There's only certain parts on the race course where you actually can see people back and forth, right? And so that just before Hell's Kitchen is one of them, and Hell's Kitchen. And as I was going into Hell's Kitchen, I go, I think I missed him. But I was running on the far left side so that I can look at every single person as they're coming up. I'm looking for Louis. And then I see him. And then I moved over and I grabbed this hug from him. And we just hugged for a little bit. And then we moved on. And years ago, an athlete of mine, I gave her a hug near the end of an Ironman. And because of because of the hug, but she missed PBing by like a couple of seconds. And she's like, oh, you shouldn't have hugged me. I'm like, oh. And I didn't want that in my head to go, oh my gosh, if I hug Louis, will this affect his race? I really didn't want that to happen. At that moment, it didn't matter. I'm like, I don't think it's gonna hurt him. I know last year he didn't finish. Maybe he's gonna get as much energy from this hug as I. Okay, are you still with me? What happened is the battery ran out of juice while I was filming it. So I got to 45 minutes. So if you're still listening to this podcast or watching this video, well, congratulations. You deserve a medal or a high five. So there you go. We're gonna try and continue this and finish it off. The story, basically what happens is, I was saying that I was hoping that Louis, the guy that I got that hug from, I was hoping that he gets as much energy as I did, or as I was anticipating, and he'd be able to go faster. Now, as it turned out, I'm just going to quickly wrap this up. The race, Hawaii 7.3 for this year, they're giving away Hawaii Ironman spot. So you had to come in your age group place high enough to get a Hawaii spot. He was, like I said, he's in the 50 age group. He came in 7th overall in his age group, and he was able to get his Hawaii spot. So congratulations, Louis. That's fantastic. For me, as I got that hug, I kept going and running. I felt good, and you know what? As the last few miles, they were very special to me. Like I said, I dedicate this race to my dad, so I just kept thinking about all the times that we had together, and etc., etc. And in the distance, I go, you know what? I think I'm going to see Louis again. And sure enough, I did. Like I said, I'm a faster runner than he is, so I was able to catch up to him. And I got to him, gave him a pat in the back, and I probably said thank you, Louis, or something. And then it came to the last 2 miles. The last 2 miles were actually pretty hard for me, but I really celebrated in my own way for the race, and it was quite good. What I did is I just kind of opened up my arms and just kind of embraced a lot of the environment, embraced the air, the wind, everything was really, for me, it was special. I crossed the finish line. I did a special tribute to my dad, and then afterwards, the guy was putting the medal on my neck, and he was just saying, oh, you're from Canada, blah blah blah. I used to live in Canada, blah blah blah, and he was going on and on. I'm like, I can't talk to you about Canada right now. I mean, I wish I could, but I wanted to see Louis finish because I knew he was just behind me. So I can't do this. So when he finished, I went to Louis, gave him a really good hug, and what we shared some comments, and then that was it. That was the end of my race, and it was wonderful. And then I just waited. I had the best shower ever. If you've never done that race before, they have these ocean showers. So public or something in the ocean, you come off, you can rinse off. At the end of this race, I finished in like 5 hours and 1 minute. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're sweaty, you're gross, and all you want to do is get rinsed off. So I'm standing by the shower, and it was the best shower ever. It felt so good. And then I waited for my athletes to come through. I think the next person through was Kent. I think Kent. And then Travis, and then the rest came through, and it was really fantastic. That's the end of my race report. I know it's long. If you made it to this end, seriously, you deserve a medal because it was a long rant for me and it took a long time. This may be my longest video ever, and the fact that I'm actually finishing it for you down here in the basement while everyone's upstairs sleeping is a testament that I wanted to get it done. And so I think it is what it is. The race was good. I'm looking forward to doing Hawaii 7.3 again next year. If you want to do the camp is wonderful. We already have the house booked for next year, and it's going to be fantastic. That's it. I'm going to go to bed, and I will see you at the races. This is Coach Todd saying thank you very much, and happy training. See you later.